Good morning. So I'm outside reading one of my books that I just got, which is Feeding the Soul, which I've actually had it for a few weeks. So if you've been watching my videos, I recently finished Finding Me by Viola Davis, and she talked about her childhood and, just her truth and learning herself and, finding herself at the age of, I think she was 51 or 52. And it was a great inspiration for me. And I also read the Cicely Tyson autobiography, which is full of light, love, compassion, empathy. It just talks about her journey. It's really great. And in reading the beginning of Feeding My Soul, Tabitha Brown talks about having empathy and just finding love and joy and happiness and doing everything that you need to do for yourself. Why? Because it's your business. And she talks about that in this book. And one thing that I wanted to talk about this morning in healing is my mother wound. A lot of people have reached out to me and talked to me about their parents, their mom, specifically. A lot of women spoke about their relationship with their moms, how they didn't want to talk about certain things out of fear. And I have been like that my entire life. I was structured around religion, my upbringing, and my mom was a great provider. She was always there to make sure her children looked good and we were fed. But when it came to the emotional support, um, I just didn't get that from my mom. More so, my mother had a very controlling aspect of our relationship, and for the longest, I just went with it because that's all I knew. And one thing that I hate was that I was not able to express my feelings, even when something happened to me more than once in my family. And it was almost like, oh, well, okay, so what had happened? It happens to everybody. Get over it. And I lived with that for so long. Just get over it. Oh, well. And that became my jacket where I would just walk through life with, like, okay, well, they hurt me. So what? Let me get over it. I don't want to lose them. And so I would keep relationships and friendship with people just because it happens. Oh, what? So what? And I never put myself first. And in going into therapy this year and learning that I need to feed myself what it is that I desire, and to let go and deconstruct how I was raised, because a lot of how I was raised is how I operate in this world now. And I'm learning to be kinder to myself. I'm learning to be more gentle with myself. I'm learning to be patient with myself. I'm learn how to caress myself in certain ways that only I can mend the wounds that happened to me. So I'm learning myself so much. And when I tell you, this journey has been so fulfilling, but it also has been painful because it also brings out truths. And in bringing out my truth, I also have this little fear of, oh my God, what if I say something, they look at her a different way? And I'm always having to protect the image of my mother, but it's not about my mother, it's about me. And so, because I was so young and not able to be heard, I wrote a lot. And so, when I tell you I wrote a lot, this is my journal from 2003, from 12 years old to 15 years old. I was at Airways Middle School. I talked about boys, I talked about cousins, my family drama. I talked about a lot of things that I had to do. And it continued on. Every year I would write from 2005, 2006, 2009, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2000, all the way up to now. So I have always kept my journals, and I'm recently going back in and just rereading what I wrote and learning myself at the age of 12 and 15, and just restoring some of the love that I wish I had, and just affirming myself and just letting myself know that you are worthy. And in telling my truth and speaking about myself, I have to stop worrying about offending other people because this is my story. And when I look at relationships now, with my mother, with her mother, I learned that there is a cycle of trauma and abuse, and just get over it in silence. And I knew that when I had a child, that I wanted it to be a daughter. I wanted to have a little girl because I wanted to break that cycle. And I didn't know that I could have just started it with myself. But it took me having a daughter to break the cycle of making sure that I am more emotionally available for her, but I had to learn how to be emotionally available for me. I had to learn how to listen to myself and to understand that I needed to be heard too. And for so long, I would say certain things and people would interpret it differently, even if I could be direct. And I used to wonder, like, how is it that I can say, hey, I don't like this, and you hear something else? And then when I repeat myself, you'd be like, oh, I get it. And I would have to do that so much to a point that I just stopped, because I'm like, I shouldn't have to tell someone to see me or hear me when I'm verbally expressing how I feel. That's not a me problem, that's them. So I had to learn how to control my responses and to look at people and be like, you know what? It's not me right now. I can definitely take accountability for my actions, but if I tell you something or if I'm trying to express to you how I feel and you're not hearing me out, I'm not finna try to make it. I'm not finna try to do any more than what I've already given you. And that stemmed too from my childhood because I was silenced a lot. Even when I was hurting and things happened to me and I was so confused, I didn't have the women in my family to talk to me. I had women outside of my family or, in-laws, some in-laws to assist me, but it was like they wanted to keep the relationship with my mom. So they didn't want to, ruffle any feathers. Only person who I felt like stood up for me and had my back was my Uncle Petey. And I talked about him in my other videos. He was the reason why I started writing and expressing myself at a young age through my journaling. And I wanted to be a writer and I loved everything when it came to the art. I wanted to be an actor or actress. I still in a way do, but expressing myself and telling my story was something that I did privately. But in performance, I was able to act out other people's lives and perform other people's lives and just, put all of who I was into that. And so that's why I always love just in making people laugh or even just getting people into the most emotional state to let them know that you can release this pain. Like I help you. And I'm at the point now where I'm able to talk about things more without worrying about others. Because for so long I had to worry about everybody else. I had to worry about what did I offend my mom, my grandmama, my family did. Oh my God, what the church would look like. I don't give two shits anymore. Because what was that worry for me? And so today I am sitting with myself. I'm loving on myself. I'm giving myself the space and time and grace that I need. I'm trying not to overload because a lot of how I operate, like I said, stems from my childhood. So in my deconstructing the structure that I was built upon or the foundation I was built upon, I'm starting to love me so much more. And I tell you, it feels so much better when you do the work for yourself and you give yourself the joy and love and happiness unapologetically that you need. And that's what I'm doing. I hope you find the love and time for yourself. And just even if you can't give yourself a full hour or 2 hours a day, just every 5 minutes, every other hour, just remind yourself that you are loved and that you are amazing and that you should take your time. It's not a race to healing. This is a journey that I am on and I'm sharing with you. And I just appreciate, others who reach out to me and tell me their stories because I promise you, I hear you. I got you. We in this together and we're growing and we're healing. We got to have solutions to our healing. So, y'all have a good one.